I analyzed the United States' thrashing of Paraguay. USA just shocked the World Cup. 4-1 demolition of Paraguay. Nobody saw this coming. What if I told you the most dangerous team at this World Cup isn't Brazil, isn't Argentina, isn't France, it's the host nation. And after tonight, nobody is laughing at the United States anymore. 4 goals, 1 brutal first half, and a warning shot heard around the entire tournament. Stick around because this story has a twist nobody expected. Here's the situation. The United States qualifying, having beaten both Brazil and Argentina along the way. On paper, this was supposed to be a tight, cagey opener. Instead, it turned into one of the most one-sided openings of the entire World Cup. Final score, USA 4, Paraguay 1. Welcome back to Football Atlas. If you love deep dives into football's biggest moments, hit subscribe, because today we're breaking down exactly how this happened and why it might be the start of something bigger. Let's rewind to kickoff. For the first few minutes, things looked normal. Paraguay had the ball, they looked composed, and there was a sense in the stadium that maybe, just maybe, this would be the cagey defensive battle everyone predicted. That feeling lasted about 10 minutes, because once the United States found their rhythm, something changed. The pressing got higher, the passing got sharper, the wide players started finding pockets of space that Paraguay simply couldn't close down, and the crowd, tens of thousands of fans wearing red, white, and blue, started to sense that something special was building. By the time the first half ended, the United States weren't just ahead, they were dominating. 3-0 in halftime, 3 goals, 1 team completely in control. And the player at the center of it all? A name you need to remember, Folarin Balogun. But here's where it gets interesting, because the story doesn't end at halftime. There's a twist coming in the second half that changes the entire narrative of this match. Stay with me. Before we get into the second half collapse, and yes, I'm calling it a collapse, drop a comment below telling me which team you think is the biggest surprise of this World Cup so far. Is it the USA, or is there another underdog story brewing that we haven't covered yet? I read every comment, and your picks might become our next video. Now let's get back to the pitch. So how did the United States build a 3-0 lead before the break? Let's break it down goal by goal, because the pattern here tells you everything about how this team is built. From the opening whistle, the U.S. midfield pressed Paraguay into uncomfortable positions. Every time Paraguay's backline tried to play out from the back, there was an American shirt closing the passing lane. This wasn't accidental. This was a tactical plan executed with precision, a quick combination, and Folarin Balogun finishing with composure that made it look almost routine. The stadium erupted. You could feel the energy shift instantly. Paraguay, a team that had built its World Cup qualification on defensive solidity, suddenly looked rattled. The second goal followed a similar script: wide play, a quick switch of the ball, and again, Balogun in the right place at the right time. 2 goals in the first half from one striker. That's not luck. That's a player in red-hot form, feeding off service from teammates who clearly know exactly where he likes the ball. By the time the third goal went in, a team move, patient build-up, breaking down a tiring Paraguay defense, it was clear this wasn't a fluke. The U.S. midfield controlled possession for long stretches. Paraguay barely had a shot worth mentioning in the entire first 45 minutes. For a team that had beaten Brazil and Argentina in qualifying, this was as bad a half as they could have imagined on the biggest stage of all. 3-0 at the break, the home crowd in full voice, and Paraguay walking into the tunnel needing to find answers fast. Now here's where the story takes a turn. The second half started, and almost immediately something shifted. The United States, perhaps naturally, perhaps strategically, dropped their intensity slightly. Maybe it was fatigue from such a high-energy first half. Maybe it was a tactical choice to conserve energy with a commanding lead already secured. Either way, Paraguay suddenly found something they hadn't all match: space. And Paraguay made the most of it. Their best player on the day, Mauricio,
who plays his club football for Palmeiras in Brazil, found a gap in the U.S. defense and slotted home a goal that, for a few minutes, gave Paraguay something to build on. The second half started, and almost immediately something shifted. The United States, perhaps naturally, perhaps strategically, dropped their intensity slightly. Maybe it was fatigue from such a high-energy first half. Maybe it was a tactical choice to conserve energy with a commanding lead already secured. Either way, Paraguay suddenly found something they hadn't all match: space. And Paraguay made the most of it. Their best player on the day, Mauricio, who plays his club football for Palmeiras in Brazil, found Trip finally had a reason to celebrate. The momentum, even if only slightly, started to shift. For a brief stretch, it actually looked like Paraguay might claw their way back into this. 3-1 with over 30 minutes still to play is not an impossible mountain to climb, especially against a team that had visibly eased off the gas. But this is where the story takes its final turn, and it's not the turn Paraguay was hoping for. In the closing minutes, with Paraguay pushing bodies forward in search of a second goal, their defense made a critical error. A miscommunication at the back left a massive gap in their defensive line, the kind of gap you simply cannot leave open at World Cup level. The United States pounced immediately. One pass through that gap, one clean finish, and it was 4-1. Game over. Any hope of a Paraguay comeback was extinguished in an instant. So let's sum up what actually happened here. The United States dominated for 45 minutes, built an unstoppable lead, eased off slightly, allowed Paraguay back into the game for a brief window, and then punished a defensive mistake to seal the biggest scoreline of the tournament so far: 4-1, the first true blowout of this World Cup. Now, here's where Football Atlas wants to give you something you won't hear from the mainstream football media. Everyone is going to talk about this result as the USA had a great night. That's true, but I think that's missing the bigger picture. Here's my hot take. This result should be terrifying for every team in this World Cup, not because of the scoreline, but because of what it revealed. Think about it. Paraguay came into this tournament as one of the most disciplined, defensively organized teams in South America. They beat Brazil. They beat Argentina. Their entire identity was built on being hard to break down. And the United States didn't just beat them, they dismantled that identity in 45 minutes in front of a home crowd on the biggest stage of all. That's not a fluke result, that's a statement. For years, the narrative around U.S. soccer has been they're improving, but they're not quite there yet. Tonight, that narrative took a serious hit. A team with genuine homegrown attacking talent, playing with confidence, supported by a deafening home crowd, just put 4 goals past a side that nobody breaks down. Massively underrated. We've seen it again and again throughout World Cup history. Host nations playing with a different level of belief, a different level of energy because of what's on the line in front of their own people. The United States just sent a message to every team in this competition. We are not here to make up the numbers. We are here to compete. And if this is the level they're capable of in match 1, imagine what happens as the tournament progresses and the crowds get even louder, the stakes get even higher, and the belief inside that locker room grows even stronger. Paraguay, meanwhile, has a lot to think about. A defense that conceded just a handful of goals throughout an entire qualifying campaign, just let in 4 in a single match. That's a wake-up call they cannot afford to ignore if they want any chance of progressing from this group. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Do you think this USA performance was a one-off, a perfect storm of home advantage and a Paraguay off night? Or is this the start of a genuine deep run for the host nation? Comment your prediction below. Are the USA going to be this World Cup's biggest surprise package, or will reality catch up with them in their next match? If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications because Football Atlas will be covering every major match, every twist, and every plot armor moment of this tournament as it unfolds. We've got a lot more stories like this one coming, and trust me, this World Cup is just getting started. Thanks for watching Football Atlas. We'll see you in the next one.